Hey, backcountry.church, it's good to see you. We're in a series called Follow. I'm here at Garnett Lake, and I'll share a little bit more of the scenery in a few minutes. But we're in a series called Follow. And the question I want to pose today is, what's the point? What's the end game? If you're hiking the PCT, you're starting in Mexico, the end game is to get up to Canada. If you're hiking the Appalachian Trail, you got, regardless of what place you start at, you want to get to the end. Same with the JMT and other. What is the end game? If you're follow Jesus and you're 60, 70, 80 and you've come to the end of your life, the question is, if you sat back and said, I'm glad I follow Jesus because of why? What is the benefit? What's the promise? What's the reward? Let me explain what the reward is not. Now, these are benefits, these are good things, but this isn't the point. The point isn't to become a better person, although you'll end up becoming a better person. The point isn't going to heaven, although, and being with the Father, although you'll end up doing that, but that's not the point. The point isn't to have a pain-free, problem-free life, and we know that's not the point of following Jesus. And this gets mixed into the message of Jesus all the time. You follow Jesus and your life will be perfect. Well, it won't be. There will be pain, there will be problems. If you're going to follow Jesus, you need to know what the payoff is. I mean, what is the point of it, other than those three items that I just spoke of? Now, let me just give you a context. When Jesus was here, there were three groups that followed him. His immediate disciples, his inner circle, the rabbi, he's the teacher, and then the second group is people that went most places with him. And then finally, when Jesus showed up at a town, it was the locals that were there with him for a season. And Jesus, in our passage today, is sending his disciples out, his inner circle out. And what they're going to do is they're going to go and explain the good news to people and what it is about. Let me read this passage if I can. I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. In other words, there's going to be conflict. Therefore, be as shrewd as snakes and innocent as doves. Just a note, as a Christ follower, I've seen us be really good at being innocent as doves, but not as good as shrewd as snakes. Be on your guard. You will be handed over to the local councils and be flogged in the synagogues. What? People died from flogging. This is in our future? This is going to happen to us? Jesus is peering into the future of what's going to happen to him, but also what's going to happen to his followers. Verse 18, on my account, you will be brought before governors and kings as witnesses to them and to the Gentiles. Gentiles are simply those who are not fully Jews. But when, you might want to circle that word when or make a note of it, when they arrest you, do not worry about what to say or how to say it. When they arrest us. I thought we were part of a movement. I didn't think I'd have to be worried about this. Verse 19, at that time you will be given what to say, for it will not be you speaking, but the Spirit of your Father, Heavenly Father, speaking through you. You mean God will be involved in the arrest? And he knows that I'm being arrested? Then why doesn't he just stop me being arrested? That'd be a lot easier. Be better for me anyways. Brother will betray brother to death, and father his child. Children will rebel against their parents and have them put to death. You will be hated by everyone because of me. But right now, in Jesus' circle, everybody loves Jesus. He heals people, he teaches, and he puts down the religious, the political people. Thousands show up. It's like a rock concert. all this is really going to happen? The disciples were thinking. Then Jesus comes to a place of that tension that we've all thought about. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one that can destroy both soul and body in hell. And Jesus introduces us to a concept, the concept that he taught his disciples that did follow, but they didn't get the point of it until after Jesus was crucified 3 years later. And that's good for us. I don't know about you, but I'm a slow learner. And I'm still learning a lot of this stuff about fear. Are not 2 sparrows, verse 29, sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside of your Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. And Jesus takes us to a place when all hell breaks loose, when we are flogged or arrested. Our faith, because of us following him, if bad things happen as a result of that, because we're following, our faith in him is strong. We have no fear. You hear him whisper, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. You see, Jesus' message was not, don't be afraid because I won't let bad things happen to you. Jesus' message was, don't be afraid when, not if, when bad things happen. It is faith and a connection and fellowship and followership that is so big it overwhelms the bad. Jesus' main idea was the destination of following. The question I asked earlier is faith that overwhelms fear. Fear, for guys, it's hard to admit that we have fear. But sometimes when a person's in a bad mood, it's often because of fear. They fear something, they're lacking something. Things have changed. The end game of following Jesus is to have a faith so big that there is no fear. You continue to follow. It's so deeply rooted in your Heavenly Father's love for you that faith and that fear will no longer be a driver in your life. You ask, what would I do? This is a great question. What would I do if I was absolutely confident that God was with me? See, the destination is everywhere in the Gospels, this particular destination of having a faith that is fearless. Why does he take us there? Why not, have magic? What would be a goal? Well, let me just mention a few things, and then I'll show you the lake. First of all, overwhelming faith honors God. Overwhelming faith honors God. God is most honored. He receives the most glory through our living, active, death-defying, outside-of-the-box trust in him. What would you do if you knew that God was absolutely with you? Overwhelming faith frees us to love. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear. You see, fear and love are incompatible. You cannot love your enemies and fear them at the same time. His invitation is to get rid of fear so we can love. Who is it that you're not loving well because you fear? I'm doing everything I can, Jesus says, to teach you how to love. But you got to get rid of your fear. And we know, let me read this. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and who have been called according to his purpose. That's Romans 8:28. A little bit later he says this in Romans 8:35, who can separate us? Who can doubt us? Who can put doubt into us so that we fear? Who can separate us from the love of Christ? Shall trouble or hardship, persecution, famine, nakedness, danger, or sword? No. Our Father's love is so, so great as seen through His Son. It's hard to be in a sinking ship and not fear. I get that. And the question is why are you so afraid? By the way, if you go to the Apple App Store or Google Play, download backcountry.church app. Join us there.